This is really, really good. This is really good.
I'm about to give you some flowers.
This is really good. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, thank you.
I'm so thankful. Tell me a little bit about growing up here. What was it like?
If I would start that, I would say I went to Booker T. Washington. So art at the time, Arts Magnet. So I guess my story starts there because that laid the foundation for like everything that I am today. Because that's when like it was like real art teachers. So Booker T. Washington was like the first high school in the country who basically catered to the arts. So dance, music, different things like that. The artists, teachers were professionals and they gave that to us. And I was able to like hit every different subject matter in the arts, you know, so I was taught all of them. So.
When did you actually start getting into the arts? How did you know that this is what you wanted your path to be?
I've been drawing since I remember, since I was like young. I was always treat people, oh, I've been drawing since the 3rd grade. And I would tell people like that. And then one time I had a show and my 1st grade teacher showed up. She said, no, I have worked from you back in when you was 1st grade. So I was drawing pictures for Martin Luther King and different things, the posters and things like that. So I guess I've just been always doing it. But the reason that really pushed me is I had a 7th grade teacher who actually put me in my auditions and found about Booker T and pushed me into that way. So it was a teacher. So yeah.
That makes me want to ask this because, like, to be Black and to be an artist, especially in the South, for a lot of us, our parents are not the types who will be like, yeah, go, the art route is for you.
Yeah.
So what was your upbringing like? Was art encouraged? Like, how did you navigate becoming an artist?
Right. So going to the art school was not a problem. Okay, it's school. And for as being an artist, you know, it was just school. So my parents didn't really see that as a plus or minus. But I was told to be expected when I leave school to join the military. So that was supposed to be my role. Yeah.
Military?
Yeah.
Did you come from a strict household?
I would say so. I would say so, yeah.
What was strict about it?
Just the way things were, you know, because trying to be an artist in the world was not really a way of life, you know. It was still, I mean, you know, it's still, we're in the 80s, you know, things are just not happening, but being an artist, it was not a career path.
What was Dallas like in the 80s?
Oh, Dallas was pretty cool in the 80s because I was at Booker T. So Booker T, believe it or not, was Fame on steroids, if you remember Fame the movie. So the principal was like that, the school was like that, the lunchroom was like that, the beginning school was like that. We're just all artists and just mingling together. So yeah.
And so Booker T. Washington at that time, was it still predominantly Black, or was it mixed like it is today?
It was maybe 70% Black.
Okay.
Yeah, it had a good mixture, but you know, people from out of state. I mean, people like now, I think you have to be within the DISD, but I remember people used to like pay a stipend to come. So yeah.
Okay, now I want to ask. So Val told me that you were the man to know. She's like, she met all these cool people through you. She met Dave Chappelle through you. She met Erykah Badu through you. She told me that you worked at Forest Theater at one point.
Yeah.
So tell me, like, this journey, this chapter of Emmanuel. She said, I think she said you had locks or something.
Yeah, I had locks. So, wow, you have to start. Well, that's jumping in between the journey, but
well,
so,
walk you through.
Okay, so the first gallery was on the sleigh, and that was Exposition, right across from the Fair Park. the opposite side. I don't know if you know where Exposition is, the spot. So that was the first on the Soleil, and that was in the late 80s.
And this is the gallery you own?
This is a gallery owned, yeah. So this was I owned there, and then later on the Soleil was a gallery. It had my work, and I sold books and things like that. Books hard to find, some Black, some not, some metaphysical books as well. Then from there, I went from Exposition to Deep Ellum. So I went to Deep Ellum probably about in 93, 94. And before my transition out to 93, 94, I did move to the space, and I had the space. It was a gallery, much bigger galleries on the corner in Deep Ellum. And then I guess that's when I ran into Erykah. So I was looking for something a little bit different for the space, not just being a gallery. I wanted something where the arts could be celebrated. And we ran across each other. And then I was talking to her. I said, I'm looking for something. I'm looking for something, looking for something. And then she gave me a cassette tape. Back when cassette tapes was cassette tapes. And she said, listen to this. I said, oh, that's it. So it was her singing. So then she came and she hosted on the Soleil. So on Friday nights, people from Dallas, but also outside of Dallas, we would host one person that night. And people would come in from, like I said, outside, inside, and they will perform that night. Whether they were really, really good or really, really bad, everybody was, just happy to, be there. So that went around to up to 97, because that's when Erykah got signed. And then I was also trying, my life got a little bit busy because I had a lot of commissions in the art world. So I said, okay, I'm gonna let you get some artists run the place. If they can run the place, I'll keep the place open. So that stayed open for maybe another 6 months, and because they, whatever the reason was, they didn't quite work.
And
so,
was it primarily your work, or was it?
At that point, I was selling. It was different artists as well, but and then I would sell some of the artists, who were big name out in the world that you probably have saw on the Cosby Show and different things like that. But that Friday night, the space just opened up to a different world.
That's so cool. So you had like a lounge slash.
Where people
Cool.
In
the 90s too.
And then,
We had another big black room. That's super cool.
Yeah, so that last around 97. And then around 90, in the 97, 98, Tisha Creer, and then Erykah, let me see. Well, we were all just kind of hanging out or whatever, or talking. And I guess we were like, the artist is saying like, oh, we're going to stay in Dallas. But Tisha came up to me and said, hey, you want to open up a spot? And you want to do this, you want to do spoken word, do some different things. So she was doing other things around the Dallas too, like plays and acting. And she's amazing actress, or what she does. If you ever hear her perform, it's really, really well done. But then we opened up Reciprocity. So we opened up Reciprocity, and I'm really bad with dates, maybe 89. And the first day we opened up Reciprocity, the line went around the corner. We didn't know what was going to happen, but the line went all the way around the corner to Jefferson Street. So every night. So then we would, and that would be, I think it was Friday nights. We would do it, and we wanted to make sure that everyone could come in, and the proceeds would pay for the host, and not so much for the building. So I think we were charging $2 to get in, because we didn't want to be crazy about it. And, and then we used that money to pay whoever hosted the.
How long was Reciprocity open?
I stayed for up to 2005. So I stayed up to 7 years. And then after that, I left, and Tish ran it for another year. And then from there, we had like The Last Poet came through. Common used to come through. Actually, Common used to come through even on the Soleil. They used to host battles inside on the Soleil back in the day. But people from Atlanta, people from New York, and then Reciprocity, every year we did an anniversary party. So the very, very first anniversary was downtown Dallas. It was called, we blocked off the whole entire street down there in McKinney. And it was probably about thousands of Black people, all in one space. It was the Velvet E, I think, back in the day.
It was called what?
Velvet E, I believe.
Velvet E.
It's no longer there. So, and then, so of course, Erykah highlined it, and then Dumby, and then different people in the community, hip hop people, stage. It was real nice. So every year we would pick a spot. And then I think one year was really funny. We blocked off of the entire street and where Jefferson and where the place was. And the city, thinking that we were going to be really bad, we needed police, but they gave us extra police, which was good. It was fine. But we put the stage in the middle of the street. So the artists performed. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's amazing. Yeah. I'm sorry, there's no pictures.
I know. I'm sure there's some pictures. I probably have some scattered somewhere out there, I'm sure. But I do have videotapes.
Okay.
So we have videotapes. Some on. Tish has some. I have some. Some are on, what do you call it, 8-track, but some is on CD. So I have a box somewhere with a bunch of them. So we kind of just split them.
Okay, I'm gonna love you for that.
Okay. But the beautiful thing about every time we had a celebration, we used the funds to pay the artists, and that was the main thing. So if we had bands, we had people doing poetry, we're doing hip hop people, everybody got paid. And whether we came above the fact, that wasn't really the factor. It was just we wanted to make sure the artists got paid.
That's so cool. Okay, so now I'm like, okay, when did you graduate from Booker T. Washington? How did you go from I'm a student to I'm running the city? Like,
I don't know about running the city. Well, actually, I'll be honest. So, like I said, my life at home was supposed to be, okay, when you graduate, you're supposed to go to a military. So in 1985, when I graduated, when I walked across the stage at SMU, I got into my car, I went home, packed all my stuff in my car, and I left. So that's my story.
so you just, I'm out.
I'm out. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so from there, that's where you just started.
From there, I was, trying to figure it out. I know that I want to be an artist. I worked at a couple fast food. Well, I did that beforehand, a fast food place. And then I ran into an auction house. So I was working for auction house, and they sold their work from, that's why I learned how to understand the difference between different materials, rags versus acid, Picassos versus Candistes, just understanding the art world a little bit even more than what I knew before. So I did that for a while.
And what led you to decide to open, because to open a gallery at that time in Dallas,
Yeah.
there couldn't have been a whole bunch of Black-owned galleries at the time, right?
No, actually, I think listed Vic, I guess I might have been the first one, the gallery, but I think Della Beck had a studio. Mm-hmm. So what really changed me, I was taking classes at the community college, and then I ran into, there was an exhibition inside of the space, and I was like, wow, who is this art? I don't know what it is. I don't know what about it, but it made me feel a certain way. So I said, how can I meet this artist? So they said, well, the artist is gonna come and talk on this particular date. So I made sure I was there. That artist was Frank Frazier. So his art just kind of like, wow. Even though I was at Booker T and I learned about art and I know about art, different things like that, but this touched me differently. So I was not aware of myself. And then what really changed me, but then eventually when we got together, then I went to Senegal. So I went to Senegal in the 80s. And then when I was
to Senegal with Frank?
Yeah, with Frank in the 80s. And then when I went to Senegal, I felt a certain way. And it's I can't really describe it. And it was funny because maybe about a couple of months ago, Trevor Noah was trying to explain it to a story that someone else tried to explain it. But when you go, you feel a certain way. I think for the first time that I felt like I was a person, I didn't have to be defined. And then also I saw that people living happy with little of nothing, but proudly and for respectfully. And I said to myself, if people can do this with nothing, I should be able to do what I want to do. So when I came back to the States, I just opened up the gallery.
Just like that.
Just like that.
That's
So yeah.
I did want to ask, and this might sound like I'm going off track, but I wanted to ask about your spirituality. And I wanted to ask this for years, actually, because I've heard you say some things that just kind of pricked my ear a little bit, that I identify with.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you a little bit more about like your spiritual practice, your spiritual basis, and how that relates to your art, especially like with this continuation of water.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of complex, but it's complex in a way where, you know, of course in school I make sure that I study different religions. So I wanted to get a whole scope of it, other than, you know, being Baptist and things like that. I want to understand not only Christianity, but Judaism and every religion. But also for probably about 6 years, I studied with a Madagascan priest, just trying to understand the ancestors and things like that, and understanding that whole world. And then I just kind of, from that, understanding Islam and different things like that. And then I just, from that, I'm not any particular religion. I'm more so a person who respect people for what they do and what I see them do. I do believe in the ancestors, though, if that answers the question.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
So, yeah.
Is there any particular reason why water is in all of your work?
Because if you start looking at all the traditional religions and things like that, and when metaphysics or whatever not, when we start thinking about the simple things, the elements, they become complex. And like I tell people, I said, the only reason why you can talk to me across the world because you have crystals inside your phone. So I always try to keep things simple, and you can't get more simple than water. And water is so simple, but it's complex within itself. But it holds information, and it ties itself to the planet, but also energy. And I think it kind of gives life. And then it's that female aspect of it all. And understanding that, and then understanding our journey from one landmass to the next, and how much information is there from who we are. I have to talk, you know, I'm kind of talking about it or not talking about it. But prior to this series, for 20 years, I basically created a body of work about water, if that helps.
It does.
Okay.
It does. No, I have my own spiritual relationship with water. And so I wanted to ask about it for a while. But I also wanted to ask about like your relationship to metaphysical work and that kind of thing. I can't remember exactly what you said. It was like 3 years ago, but I remember you saying it. And I was like, I'm gonna ask you about your spiritual practice. Okay. So jumping back to Frank Frazier, you went to Senegal with him. What was the journey like working with and learning from or collaborating with Frank over that time?
We're still friends today. I think it was a good relationship for both of us. He took me to places and things in my life that I needed, and then I think it was a reciprocal aspect because I knew how important his work was, so I made sure that his work was on a certain level, if I could. And I say that, I'm not trying to take control of his work, but when I saw his work, I just know that the world needed to see it, and I wanted to treat it that way. So I just out of respect. So
that's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. Thinking of Frank, so I took your advice. He did what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
In the interview. Yeah. But one of the the things he did answer that you told me to ask about was his desire to help so many people.
Yes. Yeah.
And it seems like you followed in that tradition. You've helped a lot of people. Who are some of the people that have come through, like your galleries, all the way to the present that we might not be aware of?
Oh wow. That's hard and that's a lot.
I know. I remember when I was interviewing Valerie, I think Desmond Blair, his work was up,
Yeah.
and then Frank's work was down.
Yeah.
So I know there's a lot, but who are some of the ones that might come to mind?
Well, Desmond I met when he was a little boy. So it's funny. He was at the Culture Center, and sorry, I was teaching there, and they needed murals, so I would just gather up people and we'll go around South Dallas and we're just painting murals. So he was just one of those students, and then as he grew up, no limits, and just want to create things like that. I mean, there's I don't know, it's hard. it's a lot of people, yeah.
Okay,
I'm just, but I know my thing is I don't keep track because I know how powerful art is, and I just want to expose it. So yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Okay. Well, let me ask this. Frank Frazier has been considered kind of like a godfather in the Dallas art scene. Who are some of the other people who we might not be aware of who paved the way for a lot of Black artists in Dallas?
Okay. Well, you said who was the first female? The first female gallery was Ann Taylor. Okay. And she was in Oak Cliff. Well, she moved to a couple places, but she was the first female gallery. And then later on, we had bookstores, and then Frank opened up a gallery. Then we had the bookstore, Emma Rogers.
Oh, Emma.
And then later Stephanie came to the picture as well, collection gallery. So she was the second female gallery in Dallas. And then we always forget about the gallery that's in Fort Worth. I can't think of his name. His daughter runs the gallery now. He was an artist as well, and they've been around for about a good 15 years or so. And yeah, that's pretty much been it. I'm sure there's been the brother who opened up the gallery in Redbird at one point.
So, okay, let's bring us to present.
Present, okay, yes.
Yeah. So pencil on paper, y'all own this space.
Yeah.
And I was curious about the decision to move to ownership, especially because we don't have a lot of Black-owned galleries even rented.
Yeah.
So as a person who has owned so many or led so many galleries, what moved y'all to say okay, we need to go ahead and own this outright?
I want to say at this point, I was just saying, okay, I'm an artist, to be honest with you. So really that's Dr. Valerie's passion. So, and I'm like, as I say, I guess cheerleader. So whatever she wanted to do at that point, she, and one of the things she wanted to do was to open up a gallery. And I said, we're going to do it. We started in Addison first. And then if we're going to go to, after that, being there for 3 some odd years, because why rent and why go through that process if we can go ahead and find something we want to own? And the ideal is to create a longevity, because not only we know the importance of the arts, but our history has to go beyond temporary knowing. And I say that in the fact of we got to go beyond this 20-year or the 10-year cycle of art. And I'm using it in the case of original aspect, but I'm also using it in the fact of how art culture, we do have it in some places like New York and different places in Chicago up to a certain extent. But I think when I'm looking at art as a people, it is the one element I see missing in our culture. This whole ideal of how important the history and the aspect of the visual art in the lives of ourselves, but also of our kids as we grow up. And I think once we put together this element, we might even be able to talk to each other a little better or understand each other a little better, because our upbringings show us these Black images and how to respect them. And it just brings up to our psyche. And then we start talking to each other a little bit better and maybe trust each other a little bit better, because our trick or treat that was done on us is quite strong. So we need something strong enough to break that.
I love that.
Oh.
No, seriously, like, the art is, I think of art as a spiritual medium.
Yes, yeah.
And the thing that happened to us was a spiritual breaking.
Yes.
So you need something spiritual to do that healing, to do that stealing. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, thank you.
So I want to talk a little bit more about the political nature of being an artist, a Black artist, a Black gallerist in Dallas. What are some of the challenges that you have faced as an artist, as a gallerist, that the everyday person might not be aware of?
Now, I'm sure there's a lot of challenges out there, and I'm sure there's a lot of things that we have to do. Like even when I have to go get permits, when I used to go get permits and different things from the city, because I know the art world is what the art world is, you just do it. And then if there's a challenge, you just make sure you just have the endurance to do whatever that challenge is, because it's going to be a challenge for you. Whether people come or not, I guess we've been kind of blessed in a way. It's like, we don't know if people are going to come. We don't know if people are going to want this. But the need is there, so it comes. I tell people, as long as you serious about what you do and do it no matter what, then the other part will work itself out. Even if you have to take a part-time job and do something else, just as long as your passion is what you want to do and you're serious about it, not saying that you are an artist won't make things happen. You actually have to do the work, even if that's by yourself. And that's, so if there are roadblocks, it's just got to keep it up and just keep doing it, So, yeah.
So your answer is, if I were to repeat that, there may have been roadblocks. That's not your focus. Your focus is, I'm going to push through regardless. Yeah. And so I'm going to create my way. I'm going to find my way.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And then honestly, if someone stops you, that becomes a motivation too.
I did want to bring back what we were talking about before we turned the cameras on, and that was like some of the work that you've done in Dallas, major work that a lot of us might not even know to attribute. Okay. Could you talk a little bit about those accomplishments across the city?
Okay. Yeah. So the first, well, I don't know if they're in order. I do have the porcelain piece in front of the South Dallas Culture Center. Those 5 drawings. And one of the things that I do is I make sure that there's some type of student involvement. So the students help me design that. And actually all my work, I believe, I make sure that I try to show someone else how to do it so that it's an option for them. So those porcelain pieces are mine. I have the Dart train station and rail station. So the rail station is important because if you look at the rail station, it goes, there's I guess a gate, or actually it's made of steel, and it's a walkway. And that walkway, it was created, we call it the Walk of Respect, or walk, I believe, because it has the history of South Dallas on it. It has all the different Black neighborhoods on it. It has all the different names of the people who were in that community that's no longer there, that were Black communities. It kind of tells the story of South Dallas, so before it's all gone. So That was pretty important for me, and that was done by talking to the neighborhood and things like that. Then my next piece was another part, the bottom, which is no longer there. There's a sculpture that's about 11 feet tall, and it has galvanized steel, and it's in a circle, and it basically is showing the strength of the community that used to be there. And it has the Indigo symbols on it in silver, aluminum. And then I have the Ernie Banks statue, which is in front of Booker T. Washington, because Ernie Banks actually was born in Dallas, which a lot of people don't know that, and actually played right there on that lawn. He's actually from that spot, and he's actually looking where he used to live. So that statue. And then I have two at the golf course, and I know I should know. My mind's going with a blank right now.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
This is dope though. Like I'm just like, what? It's cool to like hear all of this. Because remember I was saying like there's nothing anywhere where we can find like Black history in the arts in Dallas. There's nothing. So it's just really cool just to hear you go through it all. I love it. You were mentioning a lot of these, even down to the Indigo symbols in your work. Did you grow up in a house where it's like Black history was like invented, or is this something that you pulled in on your own? I
pulled in on my own when I met Frank. And then because what I started doing there, I started going to all these, met Frank, and then I started going to all these different Black conferences. I used to go and hear Farrakhan speak. I used to go to all the different conferences as well. So then it's just understanding more about the culture. I used to go listen to Dr. Sermon speak. And actually in the late 80s and the 90s, there was a group here in Dallas called the Third Eye. So they used to bring in all these different people and just to hear them talk and speak. So I would make sure that I would listen to those as well.
Okay, so let me ask, I have a couple more questions. One is about the advancements that you've seen. And you did mention the 20-year gap, so I was going to ask about that. You're very intuitive. That's the only reason why I wanted to ask about your spiritual practice. You thought you spoke to a lot of the questions that I was going to ask anyway. So it's been easy.
I guess I didn't ask about the forest.
No, you didn't. Okay, go back to the forest.
So I see. Reciprocity closed up, and I took a little break for about a year, and then I started. Got back in touch with Erykah, and then she had a nonprofit, and it was at the forest. So then she wanted me to manage that space, and I think I managed the space for about 2 or 3 years. So managing the space, because she had a nonprofit, she would bring in all these people. So, you know, you had Bilal, you had Prince, David Chappelle, music, George Clinton, I mean, you name it, they would just come. And actually my favorite night was Bilal. I was not a Bilal fan until, because I heard his music, but when he performed live, it's just a different world. But I respect him also why he's not singing as well, but he's just, he's a incredible person from my understanding, what I understand. But Prince came in that night, and it was like, so late. So we said, oh, he's not going to perform. It was like 1 o'clock. He wasn't going to perform. He performed from 1 to 4 o'clock in the morning. It was, it was like 5 and 6 o'clock before we got out of that place. But when I read about him, and that's just what he does, he loves performing. So he just, it was amazing. So yeah.
So that makes me come to like one of the last questions, and that is, you did mention this. It was crazy because I was like, oh, that exact question. So these lulls that we have, right? So there's like a big Black boom in culture and art, and then like for like 20 to 30 years, it's just quiet. And then we have another boom. Why do you think that happens?
Oh, I don't know, but I just see it reoccurring, and I'm just wondering. But I say that it's recurring, but I see positive things come out of it. Like if I can name some artists who like people who quit their jobs and became writers, people who quit their job and became artists. So it's still a good thing came out of it. It just, we got to figure out a way how to sustain it and support it in such a way that it doesn't have to stop. It just got to keep going and growing, you know? And
What are the things you think we need to do to sustain?
We got to support each other, and we gotta keep the mindset of it's bigger than I. No matter what we think we see, it's still bigger than I, and we got to keep doing whatever it is. And if there is something, we can talk. You know, communication is like the trick of all of it. We just have a conversation, and we can agree and disagree. We just need to talk. We don't do that anymore. If we just talk, we can go through things, and we can go above things. We can go over things, and we can understand things, and we can overstand things. But instead we don't talk, and we separate. So
you've had quite a journey. So what are some of the things that you are most proud of in your art journey across Dallas, and what are some of the things that you are hoping for as you continue?
I think the main thing that I'm proud of, because I think because it was given to me, is that, and I battle with this all the time, is do I want to become a full-time artist, or do I want to teach also? Because I know the proper art of art. So I always want to give back first teaching. And I've seen what it's done to people. I've seen what the power of art have done. I could say from anywhere from just letting them know that the world's bigger, to even a psychological thing or physiological thing where I had a student who had Tourette's. But when that student is creating art, Tourette's is not there. And he went on to get his master's. I don't know where he's at now since COVID kind of went away, but I can give you thousands of stories of like that. And I just want to make sure that their art stories wasn't my art story. My art story was good once I got to Booker T, but I heard so many bad stories where people said they don't do art because the teacher destroyed them. And I don't want that to be the case. So I mean, I'm hoping, like anything, you know, buy art, buy my art. And then the reason why I'm saying if you buy my art, I'm always gonna use whatever means I have to give back some kind of way to the community. So that is a cycle.
So a Dallas culture question, very similar to the one I asked you about your journey.
Okay.
What are some of the things that you've seen change in the art scene for Black artists in Dallas, for better and maybe even for worse?
And I'm glad that Pencil and Paper is here. It's filling a void, a battle, a void that Valerie wants to take on, which is needed. We do need more. We do need more. When I say more, but it doesn't do us any good to have more if we can't work together. And here, it's all about the art and the community and the culture. And I can't, as long as I'm part of it, I can't dilute that part. And I think that's also Valerie's core ideal as well. So.
Is there anything that I did not ask that you think is critical to like Black people, Black arts, Dallas, that you want to share?
I think two things, if I would say that. As artists, we need to educate ourselves. And I say that by we have to understand who was the artist before us. What were they doing? What was the technique? What did they do? So that we can enhance ourselves, but also improve on it. It's kind of like it's the same as our history. We just need to know. And I ask artists if possible, we should go into the world where we're creating original works of art so it can last beyond us, and sell original art so it can last beyond us, so that our culture and history can last beyond us. So, versus clays and prints.